I've just pressed record on episode 6 of the Bigger Than Running podcast. And on this one, I got my pom-poms on to cheer you guys on because runners are simply epic. Second thing, I talk to you about daily trainers. I give you 4 videos, one by Ben Parks, Ran to Japan, Alio Ostrander, and Liz Newcomer, right? And then I talk to you about Mountain to Coast, more specifically the T1, their trail shoe. Hey, so I've just pressed record on episode number 6. And I'm actually excited. 6 episodes in, and people are starting to listen to it. New people coming to the podcast, and I'm grateful for that. I really am. It's exciting. But as always, let's get to the warm-up, all right? Lace up your shoes. We're about to go on this run together. So let's do the warm-up. And the warm-up is where I tell you what this episode is about, okay? I'm going to try to do it from the top of my head. Oh, wait. Before I do that, just want to say, I bought myself a notepad. Got myself a notepad because I've been doing a lot of my YouTube videos just from the top of my head. I know what I want to say, and therefore I look in this camera, and for those of you listening in the audio, I just have the mic pointed at me. It's up here. For you guys watching the video, you can't see it. I just yap. I know the key points that I want to talk about, and hopefully I'm going to be with you for the next 45 minutes. But to help me with that, I got myself a notepad. So let's get to the warm-up. I'm going to start with bigging you up. I went through this week needing a bit of a cheering up. So I thought, you know what? If there are people like that, you've had a rough week, you're about to go into a pressuring week, or things not going how you wanted them to, I thought, you know what? I want to help you out. I've got my pom-poms ready. I want to cheer you up because life can sometimes take a turn and kind of give you lemons. And I'm here to give you a good recipe for some lemonade. All right. And then when I'm done with that, I want to talk daily trainers. Remember the last video we talked about some tips for new runners. I'm going to dive a little bit into daily trainers. That's going to be the main topics. And then I'm going to talk to you about 4 YouTube videos that I watched this week that I think you guys should definitely check out. Right? And these are relevant for all levels of runners, despite the titles. Number 1, Ben Parks talked about some mistakes that new runners make, but I think these are common across all runners. And then I want to talk to you about a guy. This guy is absolutely mad. Ran to Japan. YouTube channel I have not recently come across, but I've recently sort of got really into it. I'm going to talk to you about that. And then I'm going to talk to you about Ali Ostrander, Ali O. She did a video just testing out different gels. I'm going to talk to you about that. It's just a fun video. And then a friend of mine, Liz, who is on Instagram as Resiliency Running. She does a podcast as well. Liz Newcomer. She did a video about getting comfortable with her body and not being too cautious about body shaming, body appearance, all this kind of stuff. I'll touch on that when we get there. And then for the sponsored section, I want to talk to you about a brand that I tried before, but now I'm going to give it a good go as I try to get into my Indiana Jones era. All right. We'll talk about trail running. Okay, wait. Before we get into the main topic, let me touch on this on trail running, right? I've arranged with my friend, his name is Chris, tomorrow's long run. Right? I'm recording this, believe it or not, the Saturday night before the Sunday when this episode comes out. Anyway, so I'm talking with my friend Chris. He's who I do my long runs with for a lot of the marathon blocks. He's the guy. We have a lot of other guys join us sometimes, but this guy is a constant, right? So I'm like, Chris, what we doing? So we started talking, and I was like, you know what? I canceled on him midweek. I was supposed to do a 6K, 8K easy run, and we said we'll go out in the trails. I canceled on him because it was half term, and therefore kids, couldn't get it done. Anyway, and I had to go into the office too. So a lot of things, the run didn't happen. I didn't go, actually, for the long run we've got, why don't we get out in the woods? Anyway, so that's what we're doing tomorrow, 15K in Surrey, and we're going to catch a train. I'm giving away too much, but it's important I touch on this bit for the punchline. Wait for the punchline, right? We're going to catch a train at like 6:30 a.m. to take us to Dorking, which is further away from where we live, and then we're going to run back, right? Anyway, I started thinking, I'm like, wait, is trail running for black people? Because I'll be honest with you, bro. I'll be honest with you. I like trail running, but I can't think of a single black trail runner. Don't get me wrong, when it comes to the 5K, 10Ks, half marathon, long runs, you're going to see the Kenyans, you're going to see the Ethiopians, you know what I mean? You're going to see all sorts of Africans doing all this kind of stuff. Black people, even 100 meters, you're going to see that. Let's not touch swimming, because swimming, hey, bro, we don't do swimming. But one thing I haven't seen is trail running, bro. I'm trying to get in my Indiana Jones era, and I was like, hey, I don't know. Anyway, I say that because very recently we had a trail running event it was put together by black trail runners. And so there is a group, and I like things like this. Now, that's not to say it's only for black people, but it was actually other races and stuff like that. I just like having questions like that and knowing that there are people making a conscious effort. But I just asked myself, I was like, I don't know, bro. I've never seen. Do you know what I mean? The closest I've seen is Hella Good. You know, the guy that ran across America. He's done a few 100 milers and stuff like that. I'm actually going to look into this. Anyway, if you do know, please, if you're watching this on the YouTube, comment below if you ever heard of any black trail runners, like proper good ones. Not like me, who's going to go out 15K tomorrow in zone 2 or end up like zone 4 because I can't handle the hills. I'm talking about proper legit black trail runners. I don't know if I have. But anyway, I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. All right. I said all of that to say on the sponsored section, for those of you new to the podcast, I've started this section where I'm going to fake it till I make it. And I talk about the sponsored section that's not really sponsored, but I highlight brands, a product, running shoe accessories that I think you guys should know about. So for this one, it's going to be a brand called Mount to Coast. And this is why I've got these shoes over here. And I'll touch on these in a little bit when we get there. I'll also touch on some of these on the day trainer section. With that said, right, the warm-up is done. Let's get it. Lace them up tight. Please make sure you use your runner's nut on your running shoes. Let's go. We got the episode. Let's start with a big up. All right. Now, like I said, I had a long week. You know, it was half term, looking after my little girl. Only one day of that, by the way. Even though I'm trying to be dramatic, making it seem like, oh, there I was going all out Rambo dad mode. No. But it was a long week. A lot of things happening at work too. So trying to balance all those things. I found myself needing a pick-me-up, you know, just needing cheering up. But sometimes you ever have one of those days where you don't really know what's upsetting you, but something is. So I thought, you know what, for this podcast, I'm going to do that to you guys. I got my pom-poms, a little skirt that the cheerleaders wear, you know. Let's get to it. I want to celebrate you as a runner. The fact that you pick up your running shoes consistently. I don't care what runs you do. If you're in your Indiana Jones era, you're out on the track, you're busy being epic, and you run like 14 minutes 5Ks, or maybe like 30 minute, 29 minute 10Ks, or you run 10K in an hour and a half. You run 5K in 50 minutes. Whatever it is you do, I want to celebrate you. I've had days. Last week, honestly, I'm actually starting my marathon training plan again, simply because last week I felt like, you know what, I don't want to do this, man. All of the whole week, I didn't feel like it. And it gave me an appreciation for people that consistently get their running shoes on and just go. Whether that's a weekly run, twice weekly, 3, or you're training for something, or you do this professionally, or running is your outlet. I just want to celebrate you because you know what? It's not easy, man. It really isn't. I was at the Mizuno Neo Vista 2 launch and we had a run. Now, I get done and I looked at my watch, I had run 6K, right? I was running with Ben Felton. Ben is running, right? And this guy is doing all sorts of chatting. At some point, I actually started struggling. It was supposed to be an easy run, and it wasn't for me. I'll just say it, right? Anyway, I get back. Everyone's come back, finished the run. This donut is getting his shoes on, and he's going for another one. He then had, I want to say 10K. Anyway, watch his Mizuno Neo Vista 2 review. You will see what I mean. The launch video. You will see what I mean. He does the run. And then I'm thinking, how the heck do people, if you have fine-tuned your body to that extent where running is your thing, I want to celebrate you, man. All right. That's the first group I want to celebrate. If you've ever been disappointed at a certain run, whether the run didn't go as well as you wanted to, or you've been trying and you haven't quite hit the mark you set for yourself, it's a sign that you care. Okay. So if recently you've been in a slump where you think things are not clicking as you should, I just want to tell you, man, like just having the expectation where you work so hard, I just want you to celebrate yourself. If you're out running right now, right? Even just the fact that you were out there, I won't even lie to you, man. Like this week, I haven't felt like running at all. And normally I go, I try and motivate myself, with my Morgan Freeman voice. At that time when you don't feel like running, that's the time you should go running. Those are the runs that count. Nah, not last week. Last week, I wasn't doing it. I wasn't feeling it. And it kind of made me realize that despite what will people say about how you run, just the fact that you run is enough. I know that this sport can be elitist. There'll be people that say, oh, that boy shouldn't be running at that marathon. Or here he goes running at that kind of pace. Or there he goes just dancing and doing all this kind of stuff. I'm running. And if that's you, I just want to big you up because this running thing is super tough. The third group of people I want to celebrate, if you can look back, okay? Please listen to this part carefully. I know some sections of this episode I'm going to be joking because it's what I do, but listen to this part closely. I remember trying to run for 1K without having to stop. I remember that day clearly. I know the road he was at, and there was a bridge I was trying to get to. Okay? I was trying to get to this bridge. We lived in a flat, and coming out of the flat and running to this bridge was precisely that 1K. And I wanted to just get there without having to stop. 1K. And I remember the first day I managed it clearly. I had Coach Bennett from the night running club speaking to me in my ear. I remember it clearly. 1K without having to stop. How dare I do that Aubrey an injustice by complaining that I didn't do 10K in a certain time, that I didn't get a half marathon PB. How dare I ignore that Aubrey that was just trying to run 1K and be mad at myself for not executing a workout. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've gotten to this point where I'm getting snobbyish, thinking, oh man, I should have done this. I could have knocked that. How dare I? Hey, past Aubrey, bro, forgive me. If past Aubrey could see me right now, he'd be like, hey, bro, what are you doing out here? Check this out. Look at this. If you're watching, right, you will see what I'm doing. But if you're listening, this here is an Osaka Marathon medal. Osaka Marathon medal. I was planning on running the whole marathon without stopping once. Unfortunately, I needed a week. And the guys in Japan don't play. They don't play. If they see you having a wee on the street, you're going to know about it. So I didn't want to take that chance. So I queued up, and it took me like 7, 8, 9, 15, 20 minutes. All right, fine. Not that long. But it took me a long time being in this queue just to have a wee, right? Regardless. Past Aubrey who wanted to run 1K holding the Osaka Marathon medal. Come on, man. All right, let me put this back. Now I want to turn this round onto you, right? You guys listening to me. Listen, come here. Closer. Come closer. Right. Or if you're just listening, turn the volume up. Please give yourself the grace. Give yourself the acknowledgement. Give yourself the pat on the back and tell yourself, now look. Granted, maybe you used to run 5K in 20 minutes. And now you can only manage 25. Okay. So maybe the example I've given you where past me is much worse than I currently am now. Maybe. But listen, congratulate yourself for the whole journey. Congratulate yourself for what you achieved in the past. But you know what? Congratulate yourself if you're able-bodied right now and you can just go run it. Because I assure you, there is coming a day when you can't do that. I assure you. Whilst you can, please forgive me if I speak harshly, shut up with the complaining. Instead, look at yourself and celebrate yourself and go, you know what? I'm epic. Me, right now, no one can tell me otherwise. No one can tell me about my running right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not the fastest. That's a fact. I've got my own insecurities, and that's for another episode. And I'm going to just lay them out to you so you know. But how I run is far from one of those. Okay? Because the guy I used to be, trying to run 1K without stopping, is astounding at the fact that I've run 5 marathons, 4 of which are majors. Do you know what I mean? My fastest 5K, don't get me wrong, I definitely couldn't run the time I'm about to tell you right now. 22 minutes, 08 seconds. 22 minutes and 8 seconds, bro. I remember running with Megan at the Adidas Road to Records event. I promise you right now, I can't run that fast right now at all. This marathon training has stolen all the little speed that I had. But can you imagine 22, you know what, 22 minutes is fast. I'm fast, bro. I don't care what you guys want to say because you want to compare me to somebody who runs 14 minutes and all this kind of stuff. 22 minutes for a 5K is definitely not average. It's definitely not. Definitely not. At 10K, I ran my 10K in 48 minutes and 20 seconds. That's fast. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not as fast as most in terms of the people that are within this circle of YouTubers, podcasters, whatever it is, right? The people that do this are super fast, way faster than me. But you know what? I'm not looking at myself through their eyes. I'm looking at the 1K Aubrey we just talked about. And I feel like a lot of us runners need to have that perspective. If you don't have it, you can borrow mine. You can have my perspective and it will make you look cool. I promise you now. I'm telling you, I could have all sorts of insecurities. Like back in the day, man used to have a proper 6-pack. Right now, I promise you, I don't, okay? There's a video. I tell you what, I love watching this video for 2 reasons. One, it's an epic story where Ben Felton and Cole Running paced me to my first ever sub 50 10K, right? You watch Cole running and you watch Ben, how they're running. I'm telling you now, they're like Disney gazelles. You know what I mean? With glory, right? Then you look at this Malawian, I'm telling you now, it was a mess. Okay? Now, I could have all sorts of body image insecurities. No, me. I don't. I wish I could just lend you my perspective on this running thing, on life. I want you to celebrate yourself because this running thing is tough. But you out here kicking butt. I'm telling you now, you're doing great. All you guys that wake up on a Saturday morning and go to a park run, right? And then you're out on a Sunday doing a long run. Great. All right? You're just doing great. I just thought I would say that. I realize I've rambled on quite a bit, but it's important that I kind of lay that down because you guys need to know this running thing. It's so easy to complain about it. It's so easy to go, it just wasn't my day today. I had stomach issues. Oh, and then my shoes did this. I felt like that. No. Please just celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself. Because you're a bad mother. You're doing great. All right? All right. I feel like, actually, no, one more thing. Here's your next goal. Okay? Do me a favor, all right? People that run and take this running thing seriously, do me a favor. It's just one run. Do me a run where you take off your watch, your Garmin, your Coros, your Polar, your Sunto, whatever it is, your Casio. I don't know. Take all of that off. And don't time it using your Strava on the phone, your Nike running app. Don't time it, okay? Put on just a comfortable pair of running shoes. Actually, it's a good segue for the next section. I've got this locked down because we're going to talk daily trainers in a second. And just go running. Set yourself a way of knowing how far to go and come back. That landmark and then come back, whatever it is, without a time, without knowing what pace you're doing, without knowing what heart rate you're on, without knowing the full distance you're going to do, what zone you're going to be in. Just go out running. In fact, don't even post it to Strava. Don't even tell anyone about it. If you feel like it, you can put it on your Instagram, tag me. I'll gladly talk to you about it. But just go running. There is something liberating. And I did this at Hackney Half Marathon. Didn't look at my watch once. I didn't care what time I got. I found out after because they send you a text message saying, Aubrey, you've done Hackney Half Marathon in 2 hours and 7 minutes. The most fun 2 hours and 7 minutes in a half marathon I've ever done. I got to see Philip Bowden ran beside her. I ran the majority of that run with Daniel. Come on, man. That to me is a PB in itself. Do you guys know who Daniel and Philip Bowden is? Those guys are just, Philly itself is royalty within this running space. I'll tell you, Philly, keep doing what you're doing. Hey, Daniel, Philly Bowden's channel. The creative, the production, the genius behind the visuals, the storytelling. This Daniel guy. I reached out to him. I said, hey, man, I know you're coming to this thing. Can I run with you? I was in fanboy mode. I won't lie to you. That, to me, is a PB in itself. Anyway, I've yapped enough. I'm about to put the pom-poms away. And now let's talk about daily trainers. We're making progress. All right. Daily trainers. What are daily trainers? Now, the reason I want to do this bit is I realize a lot of people are going to come across my content. I realize that people could just be scrolling on YouTube, or maybe someone will send you a link to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever. It's going to be a spectrum of different types of people, races, different levels, experience, levels in terms of pace, all sorts of different runners, right? There will be a certain people that will stay, okay? It's for those people I kind of want to focus on in terms of this content. Whatever your reason is, you're going to find a reason to stay on someone's YouTube channel, on someone's podcast, okay? One of the reasons I'd like for you to stay here is I like to dumb down running shoe content. I find that there's a lot of things. Like, there's a guy, right? I think he had good intentions, but I felt like people sometimes overstep their mark when they come to you as a person and say, oh, in your review, you didn't say this, right? There's a guy who said to me, again, Aubrey, you failed to mention that the cutout in the medial set of the hocus here. I'm like, no, I didn't fail, okay? I reviewed the shoe. I made the points. And I said about the cutout, and I mentioned it. It didn't make a difference to me. I'm not going to tell you what it's going to do to that person, okay? I gave you my review from my perspective, from my felt experience, okay? That's what I do. The reason I say that, when I tell you about a daily trainer, I'm not speaking out of an encyclopedia, a scientific expression of what this is. I'm simply telling you, as someone who has learned the sport of running, I've understood running shoes, and I just want to make it relatable and understandable to someone who needs it. There won't be any technical breakdown of this PBA nitrogen infused. No. So please accept that as how I do it. Should your approach or maybe your preference be, no, we want you to do it like this, like this, like this, like that channel, I would highly suggest that maybe you watch that channel. All right, off the soapbox, dramatics over. Let me get to what I was trying to say. In everything there is in terms of tools, there will always be a standard version and then a spec'd up one. In everything. In running shoes, it's the same. There are some shoes that you just put on and they're not complicated. Every single brand of running shoes will have a shoe that just does what it does. Okay? Same with phones. You've got iPhones do the same. Let's say iPhone 16. Okay? You've got that, 16. You then have 16 Pro. You then have Pro Max. It's the same with running shoes. Running shoes, there is a type of running shoe called a daily trainer. That does not mean, and I know this sounds stupid, not many people will think this, but by the name, it's not inferring that you run every day in the shoe, but it's a shoe that you can just pick up and do your ordinary runs. When we go away from that, you then start getting variations of a daily trainer. So for example, if I take you to On Running Brand, right? Hey, this is On's, in my opinion, their best daily trainer. It's called the Cloud Surfer, okay? Don't worry about the version number because there's confusion. The Cloud Surfer. It's got good foam, excellent padding, very standard features. You put the shoe on, you just go. You then have the Cloud Surfer, but on steroids. So the platform of the shoe, the midsole, could be a bit more expanded to give you more cushion. They call that the max cushion version. In fact, let me illustrate it differently, okay? I'm going to illustrate this using the New Balance line of running shoes, okay? I'm going to start with what I call one of the best daily trainers we have out right now in the market. And that is New Balance's 1080, okay? The 1080 line, ignore what version we're on, is, to me, the first recommendation for anyone starting to run. Anyone trying to get consistent with running. New Balance 1080, for me, is the first recommendation. Simply because it balances everything either side of it. And by that, I mean, if you imagine the shoe in the middle, to the left, you might have something that's super, super cushioned, and that is the more. Okay? So there is the 1080, and on the left of it is a more shoe. We're currently on version 5, so more V5. However, you might want a shoe that is then, actually, I don't want my shoe to be super comfortable. I want to be able to feel the ground and therefore control my pace a bit more. And what they've done in producing the Rebel is exactly that. So these three shoes, in terms of daily trainers, as confusing as it is, these are all daily trainers, okay? These are all daily trainers. However, there are some subtle differences in the shoes that set them apart. And that's why I said the Goldilocks in between these is New Balance's 1080, okay? If you want to get more cushion, you then have the more cushion, more V5. If you want less to have a bit more ground feel, propulsion, you then have the Rebel, okay? However, you then might say, actually, I want to go full force, and this is where you then get the SC Elite, which is the race day version. Now, this has a carbon plate within it. It's not a daily trainer. It's a very fast shoe. So, because we're talking daily trainers, I'm going to put this aside. Essentially, every running brand will have this. If you go to Adidas, for example, the shoe that sits in the middle perfectly for me, and I want to emphasize on that because it's highly personal. For me, it's the Adidas Evo SL. Okay? If you then want to go to the left of that, Aubrey, what can you give me that is super comfy and super cushy and all this kind of stuff? I'm going to break the rule a little bit here. It's why I love the Prime X2 Prime X Strum. It does exactly that. But it's got some elements in there that might make it a race day shoe as well. But to me, in terms of the Adidas brand, that's what I love. You then go to the right of that. That's when you start getting into the Boston 13. It's got some carbon rods in there. And then push it further on, the Adidas Pro 4. Push it further on, you then have the Pro Evo shoe. But every single brand of shoe will have that. For the purposes of this conversation and you and me, I'd like to just talk to you about the Daily Trainer. So one shoe I recommend that you get right is your Daily Trainer. Okay? So New Balance. Oh, and then one thing to touch on. The ones that I'm very familiar with are your neutral daily trainers, meaning you don't overpronate and therefore you don't need the shoe to kind of combat that overpronation or you landing in a way that your shoe needs to correct that. Okay. So if you're someone that does need support, all of the daily trainers I've just talked about will then have a support version. Okay. So the first step obviously is having your running style analyzed. I don't like to talk about that overly too much because not everyone has access to gait analysis. I come from a little country called Malawi and there are runners there. I'll be honest with you, I had never heard of anyone that does gait analysis in that whole country. Things might have moved on now, but I'm just saying, you just sort of almost need to try the shoes and find what works out for you. But the starting point will be a daily trainer. So I'm just going to go off the top of my head and just list out some brands that I run in and their most recommended daily trainer that you should at least be aware of. All right. So let's start with New Balance. That's the 1080. No other way. When it gets to Adidas, the Adidas Evo SL. If you run an A6 or A6, whatever you pronounce it, the Nova Blast 5. That's my recommended one. If you run in Brooks, this one's tricky. The one I should tell you is the Ghost series. The one that I like, is the Glycerin Max. Now, that's breaking the rules because it is a very tall max cushion shoe. But out of all of Brooks's lineup, that's the one I have. I might maybe recommend the Glycerin 22s. The Glycerin 22 will be a fine place to start. Mizuno. Now, Mizuno is one of my favorite brands. I work closely with the brand too. But the Neo Zen. Now, I'm going to be outright honest with you. Currently, that's the one I enjoy the most. That's one of my favorite daily trainers. Nike has the Vomero 18. Now, I should be saying the Pegasus line, but that's not my daily trainer recommendation. For me, the Vomero 18 from Nike is the way to go. Okay. I'm looking around. Ultra is good. Ultra, also on running, I talked about the Cloud Surfer. Ultra, look at the Touring line. So Touring to me is one of their best shoes. I looked at Topo Athletic. I have to say it's probably the Atomos, which I've been using. And then 361, I'll probably say it's the Ventus. It has to be the Ventus. Okay. Those are quickly recommendations. I may have missed a few. And for those of you listening, you got additional recommendations to make. Please go ahead and make them. Be cool to have you kind of make a contribution, add to what I have said, because I won't have all the bases covered. So we've touched the bigging up, where I put my pom-poms on and try to just lift you out of any slump you might be in, or just get you to appreciate yourself a bit more. And then secondly, we talk daily trainers. Let's talk to the YouTube videos I watched this week that I would love for you to check out. I want to start with Ben Parks's mistakes that new runners make. I obviously won't list them out because then you won't watch the video, but let's start with who Ben Parks is. For those of you not too familiar, Ben Parks is one of the ghosts within this YouTube running space. One of the nicest guys that you will meet. If you ever go to the National Running Show here in the UK, or the London Marathon Expo, or any of the majors, you find out this guy is going, honestly, head over to his stand. He always takes time to really talk to you. Him and his girlfriend, Sarah, honestly, the loveliest of people. And his YouTube videos, second to none. Okay, whether it's race vlogs, and he is one of the people that has literally shaped what I do. I will always list a few channels, and Ben Parks is one of those. Anyway, recently he released a video called Mistakes the New Runners Make. And often they lead to either you not enjoying your run or an injury. I absolutely love the recent video he's talked about because I don't think it's just new runners. I'm going to be soon coming to 3 years of running. And some of the things he talked about, I still do. So definitely check that out. Ben Parks, Sarah, thank you for what you guys do. Not only for the video, but just who you are. Really good to have people like you within this space. All right, the second video. This one's not so much a video, it's just the channel. Ran to Japan. This guy is psycho. This guy is absolute psycho. He's a YouTube channel. I want to say it's relatively new, not super new, but he's just amassed this followership, subscribers on his YouTube channel, and it's owing to one thing. One thing. I don't think it's about the running he does, but he is epic. It's him. He's just a guy you just like. I just like him. I can't relate to the running he does, like the guy's doing 200K week kind of running. He has this concept. It actually hit me. He goes, you know, like the expression that says, don't do things hard, do things the smart way. He says the other way, go hard. Anyway, on his recent videos, he was out running, right? And he fell and cut his hand. That cut grew into his arm being infected. Then he's hospitalized. I won't say too much. I'd like for you to just check him out. Even if you're a new runner, or maybe you're not out there being this epic, not even reaching 50K per week kind of runner, just check him out. He brings a lot of sunshine and joy to this running space. Doesn't take himself too seriously. And he's not the type of person to start problems with other people. He's just a joy to watch. And that to me gets airtime. All right? 2. I'm going to finish off with 2 ladies that have established their own mark in this space. Ali Ostrander. Ali, please forgive me if I've butchered your name, but I love this girl's channel. She is herself. There is something quirky about her. I just like. You know, the good people, honestly, I think the good people, not just channels, have got a quirk about them. You know, and there's a quirk about Ali I just like. She is somebody you can watch. Don't get me wrong. This girl is elite. She's super good at this running thing. And therefore, I can't relate to that. If I ever ran anything on what she does, you would need a stretcher, you would need an ambulance, and clear out the whole ICU. Right? But she did a video, and I enjoyed this. It was so fun. Analyzing gels. Which gel is the best? So she's there with her other girlfriends and they're tasting out different gels. One of the criteria they use, and this is how I knew, like, this is a video for me, how you can tell that a good gel is definitely up there, right? If it's got ingredients you can't pronounce. I was like, yeah, I like that. But anyway, check it out. It's a really good video. Ali Ostrander reviewing gels. The last one is somebody I actually personally know. I got to meet this lady. Her name is Liz Newcomer. I got to meet her in Germany when we went to Road to Records for the first time. I think she also does a podcast. I'll be honest, I haven't listened to it, but I do watch the equivalent on YouTube, and she does YouTube videos. Her Instagram is really good as well. And we both are Sports Direct running ambassadors, and she is a joy, an absolute joy to watch. Anyway, she touched on a topic on a recent video where she's recording this video in Italy. They're out on holiday, her and her boyfriend Gabriel. This Gabriel guy too, I really love him, you know. I really like him. He's a really cool guy. I've had banter exchanges me and him, but he's a really, really cool, really down-to-earth guy. Anyway, she's out in Italy, and she talks about how before, when she used to go on holiday, that's vacation for you Americans, she would be so conscious about what she's going to eat because she'd want to get abs and all this kind of stuff for the holiday pictures. And she worried so much. And I think she's coming from an eating disorder that she overcame or is still dealing with. And so this was the first time where she's gone on holiday and she doesn't have such issues. Now, the reason I thought I would talk to you about that is because I don't know if I've got an eating disorder, but let's just say me and food, we definitely have arguments. The food says I shouldn't eat it, I eat it, and I've had goals of losing weight and I just haven't. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind how I look. I genuinely don't. But I know for a fact I'm carrying a few more kilos than I want to, right? Don't get me wrong. If we out on the beach, I'll take my top off. I'll let the whole belly jiggle around. I'm okay with that. I really am. I'm fine with it. But I've had goals before and I keep failing losing weight. So there is part of that resonates with me. But please do check that out. About that though, I will touch on it probably on the next episode on what I want to do to kind of help me, because I'm ready to accept that actually I failed with this weight loss thing. I might need a bit more help than just trying to lean on my own understanding and try to do this thing. So those are the 4 videos. Ben Parks, Ali Ostrander, Liz Newcomer, and Ran to Japan. All right, let's finish this up with the sponsored corner. This section here is not sponsored by Mount to Coast. Right, hold on. Let me remove all of these shoes I was using so you guys can see. Right, Mount to Coast reached out to me because they're a new brand. They make these ultra shoes. Now, I had never heard of an ultra on the road, right? This shoe here is Mount to Coast's R1. So they sent it out to me, did some mileage in this one, quite decent amounts actually, but I don't run what this shoe is capable of doing. The features on this shoe, from the foam to the stabilizing mechanisms to the dual lacing system, like it's got 2 sections of lacing. The bottom part is independent of the top part of lacing because it acknowledges that when you're doing this roll ultras where people are running for like 1,200,000 miles, your foot swells. You might actually just want to release the bottom part, the toe box of the lacing, as opposed to the upper part. You might still want to hold on that. So it's independent. Anyway, so they sent me out. That's the shoe I did a lot of mileage in. I enjoyed it. They then sent me the S1, and I'm yet to start my review of those. I'm running in there, still pristine, excellent shoe. They then sent me out their T1. You then have the R1, which is the one I just told you about. You then have the S1, which is your daily trainer kind of version of that. And then the T1, RST. UVW, I'm guessing, I don't know. But the T1 is then the trail version of that. If you look at the outsole on here, for those of you just listening, you will see that the outsole is a road kind of outsole, whereas this is that Vibram, regardless, I don't know how you say it. I say Vibram, I'm okay with that. It's got some aggressive lugs in there. You know those lugs that don't only reach down, but they also have like spikes going sideways from the lugs? Don't worry, I'm going to talk to you about these when I do enough running. It then has a PEBA-based foam in the midsole. You had me there. It then have this Teflon tuned fit. Now I'm making up the Teflon bit, right? It's not bulletproof or anything like that. It's an interesting upper. It looks like an engineered mesh. I will get to the bottom of it and I will tell you all about this in a review video coming up very soon once I get enough mileage in this shoe. But it still maintains the dual lacing system, so you will be able to see, if you're watching this on a YouTube podcast, it's got separated lacing systems, the bottom and the upper. I like that. It then has this, I don't want to say stretchy, because it does have a stretch to it, but it's not one of those annoying stretches. What I like about the tongue though is once you're done with the lacing, you can hide away the laces into this little pouch and then has on the top of the tongue. So as I mentioned, I've got the 15K long run tomorrow with my friend Chris out in the trails. I'm getting my Indiana Jones in, so it should be really exciting. It's going to be really cool. Not only just spend time with Chris, but trying to see what this does in terms of the shoe. I'll then give you my review of it, but also later in the week I will then share with you a video of me doing that run. So yeah, be sure to head over to the YouTube channel for that video. I think that covers it. So with that said, I'll see you in a bit.